Hello and welcome. These are horse racing selections for Saturday, the 10th of May. I am flatcapcallum and I'm hoping you are all very, very well. When will it end? When will it end? I do not know. I do not know, but I would really like it to. We are on a crap run. It's not gone well this week, this month. And we need something good. So let's see. Saturday, let's get our positive vibes out for Saturday. Let's get going. It is a 1750 interest stake, whatever you want to call it, for Saturday. It's the same gig technically as Friday in that there's 8 horses and there's 2 races where there's 2 selections. So it's 6 races, 8 horses. I've just configured the bet slightly differently. So unlike Friday, I've got a bit of a lean horse. So it's in the combination doubles, but I've also put it in a 5-horse bet, and the 5-horse bet I've configured that slightly differently to how I do regularly, but not in a completely different way to I have done once or twice before. Something like that. Okay, before we do that, let's do a review of Friday. Friday. It's one of those ones that really frustrates me when some will have got some back. If you use Sky, you'd have got a bit back, or 365 actually, you would have got some money back on the combination doubles. Everybody else didn't, and it was only 1 horse out of 8 was bad. Like Rowan was the only bad horse. To bet one because it wasn't on sharp. It was quick vid. We had Emine in the Chester Cup, which wasn't far away at all. 6th, we needed top 4. We had Rowan, that was last. That was bad. O'Janey, that was backed in. There was a little rule 4 on it, but it was backed into 5-1 from 16-1 with 20p rule 4. That was 4th. We needed top 3. Sky paid out for 4th though. And then Ballon Road, we had Desert Friend 8-1 into 9-2. Second. So if you were Sky, you got a place double on that. And then the combo doubles, we had Dreamer Dozen and Law of the Sea. We needed top 3. They were 4th and 5th. And in the 5 past 8 at Ripon, we had E.T. and Poet's Dawn. We needed top 3. They were 3rd and 4th. So there's not much closer you could be with those betters without actually being in the right place. So it happens. I'd rather have that than the completely all strikeout. That's clearly the worst. But yes, it's getting on the wick a little bit, guys. Let's have some positive vibes now because it's a long old losing run. We've almost given back about half of what we actually made in April. So we had a good April. It didn't end well, but we did have a good April overall, and we've now given half of it back again. So here's my Saturday offering for you guys. Here's the main bet with lean. I'll talk about that. So 1 o'clock Haydock, my Bobby Dazzler 14. I think you can still get 20s, 22s on 365. This is a good bet for 365. So that's in, I'm just going to go through this quite quick. 135 Haydock Lunar Sovereign is the lean horse for the day. So I was having a conversation in the week with a channel follower who does some great trends work, and he's got a very sweet thing in this race. I have a different view about it. I can see his angle. I have a different view, and I found myself on Lunar Sovereign as my lean horse. I think it's probably my view is it's running competitively, albeit it's had a few breaks in service, if you like, and just slightly overlooked really, just because it's not one of the younger ones. It's not from like a super fashionable yard, but it runs pretty consistently. Just the question is whether it can run consistently up in a stand like this. But I think it's a really good price. 25-1 Lunar Sovereign. Then we've got 230 Nottingham Sugar Hill Babe. It's 7 runner. At the moment, there's only 365 and Betfred paying 3 places. So for the channel, I will be taking this as 2 places. So I'm putting it up as 2, but you've got an advantage with this bet if you use 365 or Betfred because you can get the 3rd place. If you excuse the last run, which I think there were excuses, this horse should be bang there. The challenge is you've got a few sort of unexposed 3-year-old types in this race, and that's probably the question mark more than it is, I think, its form. And then we've got 325 Cork Penny Jar 12-1, and the 4 o'clock Cork. We're having a bit of a flyer on this one. Mr. Persistence. Maybe that's me. Good or bad. Mr. Persistence. There's a bit of maiden form in there where it ran at Cork and it ran quite well. And it's the only piece of form, and it was really good. There's horses in around it that have gone on to be better things. So it showed a level of potential, and we're talking about the same course and distance. And if you look at all the other bits of form, you just would be like, not a chance. It was first time out for a new trainer last time. I think the same ownership. I think it is different trainer. And we'll see if Mark McDonough can get anything better going out of it this time. I didn't really like anything else in the race, and so I thought it's worth taking a bit of a punt on that one. So for the bet, rather than the complicated stuff I've done it as a lean. So 10p each way Canadian. So that's the 5 horses in a bet. There are 26 combinations. Some bookies call it Super Yankee, some call it a Canadian. It's the same thing. So it's each way doubles, trebles, a 4-fold and a 5-fold. So 10p each way Canadian. And then I've got a Trixie, 25p each way Trixies. That's each way doubles and trebles. So 2 separate bets. The second one is just on my Bobby Dazzler, Lunar Sovereign Penny Jar. I've left out that one because of the place terms. 2 places, 7 runner, and I've left out that because it's absolutely a bit of a riskier one compared to all the others. The others have got a lot more solid form going for them. So that's £5.20, £2, and then 50p each way singles on all 5. That is £5 total. So total is £12.20. 365 Betfred, you get the 3rd place there. They're the preferable bookie. Next best would be Sky, because Sky are offering an extra place in the Swinton. Everybody's pretty much the same here, and here. So 12.20, bet 1, that's the main bet, and the first bet. Then the combo doubles, we go 135 Lunar Sovereign 25s, and it scrapes in, but give me 5 at 10s. But there's quite a bit of wild pricing at the moment on making this video. So you can get 14s in places and then 8s elsewhere. So I think 10 is a fair price. So that's in. It's a progressive horse, so I think it will go shorter than that in the betting. 240 Ascot, so it's the Victoria Cup. I didn't have a strong lean. I had a few, and these 2 made it ahead of everyone else. So Hickory at 12s, the Osborne stable, and Safi Osborne and riding not massively in form, it would be fair to say. So we're hoping to see something from a bit better from that. And then Metal Merchant 11s. So Hickory and Metal Merchant in. So it's 4 times 40p each way doubles. So it's 40p. I know I change these about sometimes, but 4 times 40p each way doubles. And 70p win singles on those 3. Takes to 5.30. Sky are best on both races. So everybody else is pretty much 5 and 5 on both those. But Sky are offering 6 on one and 7 on the other. So if you've got Sky, you're at a big advantage. If you've got Sky, I'd also suggest taking SP at this point. So yeah, that is that. Right, I think that's it. Just gonna do the Ulsters, isn't it? What do we think about Sunday? Sunday looks potentially interesting. Is it? I think it's a meeting at Newcastle, or I think it's Newcastle, possibly South. I think it's Newcastle. Definitely an all-weathery one. Looks interesting. It's the good meet. It's the Guineas at Longchamp in France. So might have a little look at that. I don't think I've put any French horses up this calendar year so far, off memory. I don't think so. So I'll have a little look at those cards, and then other bits, and then then we're back into this time of year. So it's Monday. It's like 6 meetings on a Monday this time of year. So we'll just sort of navigate it and how we go, but we would like to have a nice day. So betting gods, if you're listening, I say if you're listening, you are listening. It's just whether or not you want to play ball or not. But Saturday the 10th of May, can we sort it out, please? Failing that, we get into next week, and there was a bit of previous next week. I think when I looked back on stats, I think it might have been two years ago. It was a bit of an anomalous. It was a really good week 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago, 2023. Might have been the year before. One of those years was an anomalous day on the Saturday, because I think next Saturday is like a Thirsk Newbury Newmarket kind of a Saturday, and the field sizes were pretty good. They were like 12, 14 runner type ones, as opposed to like 8, 9, 11 runner type ones. yeah, we pulled off some really nice bets on that one. So, there's some previous that the next week has we've had an absolute zinger at a corresponding week. I'm just telling you stats and history. I can tell you a corresponding week that was terrible. We're on a terrible run now. We've had worse. There's been a lot of worse ones, but this you never quite know if you're in what will be the new worst one. I'd rather we weren't, and I'm sure you'd rather we weren't too, because it just takes the fun out of it, doesn't it? It's like how do you go from winning 3 out of 4 days to then like losing 15, 16 on the bounce? It is what happens. Did have a good question. Who asked me the question? Oh, I'm going to get this wrong. I think it was Aaron. If I've got that wrong, I apologise if you're not Aaron. I think it was Aaron asked a really valid question, which was his sort of observation is recently I've been putting up a lot more short prices, not as many big prices, and I think he had a bit of a curiosity around it. And basically what I explained is that on the flat, the average price of horses I play with on the flat tend to be lower than the jumps. Because in the jumps, I play a lot more maiden novices, which I don't get involved in on the flat. And I tend to find some much bigger prices. Whereas on the flat, I have a slightly lower threshold of the price I would put up. So on the jumps, I tend to not put single figures in jumps handicaps. On the flat, I'm more comfortable with that. And I would normally go down 15 to 2 would be the basement, and very occasionally Rowan. Go below that, worst source of the day, lowest price of the day. Well, it wasn't actually a lowest SP. There was others that actually went off shorter in the end, but it was the lowest I put up. Anyway, the point of what I'm saying is a bit of it's time of year as well, but a little bit is the types of racing. So today, hopefully, people can get more excited. We've got they're all double figure prices. I think 8 horse double figure prices, and a couple of them a little bit more interesting. You just got to play with what you got. I'm putting things up that I believe are value compared to their chances, and I believe that they are value compared to where the betting market should have them. And that's kind of the key thing. So even if I'm putting up an 8-1 shot, minimum I'm saying that should be 6-1. So I put it in with a certain threshold. You're not talking about half a point here. Even at that point, it's a couple of points. A Luna Sovereign at 25s. That's me sort of saying I think that horse is backable at 14s. Probably, I actually think the right price is probably about 12s. That would be where I'd have it. Do I think it's going to go that short? No, I don't. But sometimes I do think these things will get shorter. A good example on Friday, we obviously didn't get there at all, but 5 out of 8 shortened, 3 got bigger, so more than half. And 3 of the 5 that shortened to at least half of what they were when I put them up. And bear in mind, for Friday's vid, I was putting them up at like 10-9. So it's not even like night before stuff. Sometimes it's I play with where when I put the video out, it's where my read of the market is at the point where I put the video out. So I have a list of horses. It's whether or not the price at the point I do the video is within the threshold that I think there's value. All right. There's a little extra ramble. I was going to finish it off and I've chatted on. Right. Have a good weekend or start of it. And I expect I'll probably see you Saturday night, possibly Sunday morning. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.